language and content, content and language, learning curricular subjects and language, all in one lesson. It sounds pretty simple and convenient, right? Well, get ready because we are about to travel 2,000 years into the past. 2,000 years ago, the Roman Empire expanded and absorbed Greek territory, its culture, and its language. Families in Rome began to educate their children in Greek to ensure they would learn the language and have access to all the social and professional opportunities learning the language would bring them. For many centuries, this idea has been replicated all over the world. The first CLIL program, like we know it today, was implemented in Quebec, Canada, around 1965. Perhaps you've heard of this as French immersion programs. But don't worry, immersion and CLIL mean practically the same thing. It was created when a group of English-speaking parents in Quebec, the French part of Canada, wanted their children to have an education that provided them with the opportunity to become competent to speak, read, and write le français, to reach set standards in terms of curriculum and to appreciate the traditions and culture of French-speaking and English-speaking Canadians. In other countries, such as the United States, the integration of content with language had also already begun. But hold on, it wasn't called immersion, and it wasn't called CLIL. It was called CBI, which stands for Content-Based Instruction. But worry not, CBI is just the integration of particular content with language teaching aims. Starting to sound like multiple sides of the same coin, isn't it? But we're here to talk about CLIL. The success of this caught the attention of Europeans interested in the teaching and learning of language. In 1978, the European Commission proposed something that aimed at encouraging teaching in schools through the medium of more than one language. Once and for all, in 1994, the term CLIL was officially adopted in the European context to describe schools where the teaching and learning of curricular subjects take place in a second or foreign language. As you can tell, CLIL is not what it used to be. So, what is it? CLIL is an acronym that was coined in 1994 by David Marsh, which stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning. Now let's not forget the name David Marsh. He's a very important figure and pioneer in the CLIL world. Not to mention, he's an internationally renowned expert in the areas of multilingualism and bilingual education. Marsh, along with his buddies Coyle and Hood, defined CLIL as a dual-focused approach in which an additional language is used for the learning and teaching of both content and language. Remember that CLIL is not a new form of language education, nor is it a new form of subject education. Rather, it is the interwoven product of both, bottled up into an approach. Just think of CLIL as the mobile phone in education today. It is a much more sophisticated way of learning languages, learning other subjects than just the old telephone where I listened and I did a test. Now remember all of the objectives previously stated by the English-speaking super parents in Quebec? CLIL's current objectives have gone through minimal tweaking since then. The objectives go as follow. Number 1, to improve students' academic performance in curricular subjects. Number 2, to improve students' proficiency in their L1 and L2. That means in their mother tongue and in their foreign or second language. Number 3, to develop thinking skills. Number 4, to develop intercultural awareness. Still sound pretty simple? Well, it can be. Here are some aspects known as the 4 C's to take into consideration to have a successful CLIL class. Number 1, remember that you need to be teaching content. That means the curricular subjects and the progression in knowledge of these. Number 2, there needs to be communication, so using the language to learn while learning the language. Number 3, cognition. You need to involve students in the usage of thinking skills in order to challenge them. And number 4, culture. Remember to expose your learners to different cultures, ideas, and understandings to create positive attitudes and create responsible learners both globally and locally. But hold your horses. Before you put on your CLIL cape and try to save the educational world, there are some things I should tell you about. Just like anything else, there are benefits and challenges to implementing this approach. CLIL helps introduce learners to new concepts through studying the curriculum in a non-native language. It also helps improve learners' production of the language in curricular subjects. Moreover, it helps improve learners' performance in both curricular subjects and the target language. It also helps increase learners' confidence in the target language and in their mother tongue. It also helps provide materials which develop thinking skills from the very start. And it helps encourage stronger links with values of community and citizenship. But, just as I previously mentioned, there are some challenges that can occur with CLIL. Number 1, it has to do with language and content. Some teachers may just not have the required level to teach the subject or the language. Number 2, techniques. That means eliciting, scaffolding, interaction patterns that maybe subject teachers are not used to doing, or vice versa. Number 3, assessment. Not knowing whether or how to assess language or content or both. Number 4, materials. Lack of CLIL materials. As soon as you sign up to be a CLIL teacher, you sign up to become a materials designer. Number 5, national curriculums and exams. The curriculum may not be compatible with the teaching approach. For example, national exams typically come in the native language, but you've been teaching geography in a foreign language. CLIL is a great approach to both language and curricular subject education. Not only does it equip students with language, content, thinking skill, amongst other things, it is also an interesting, fun, and hands-on approach to learning. And as Rear Hopper once said, the most dangerous phrase in our language is, "We've always done it that way." There are many approaches out there. Don't be afraid to try new ones. Try CLIL and keep you and your students learning.